how about Wednesday, Blake? I mean,
Yeah.
have things changed? I know Scott was on yesterday and talked a little bit about that we're in kind of that enhanced risk area. Has that kind of stayed the same as what you guys are kind of keeping an eye on as we approach kind of the witching hour, I guess, towards Wednesday?
Yeah, let's kind of break it down. This is, I think, going to unfold in 3 different parts. So we have part 1, which begins around midnight tonight, continues through mid-morning. That's when we see this precipitation first begin to move in. It's likely to be a wintry mix north of I-96. And at that point, icy travel looks pretty likely for us. And I'm going to see if I can fix this graphic here. You can see that, again, north of I-96, looking like actually a pretty decent period of freezing rain, which will definitely cause some icy travel. In fact, I'm probably going to have to make a school closing prediction later today, which is a little surprising for April. But yeah, I know. It could be impactful. Now, along and south of I-96, it looks like it's just going to be a cold, steady rain, but we're going to have to watch that freezing line pretty closely. Bottom line, obviously not as impactful as what they've been seeing up toward Alpena and Gaylord, but still enough freezing rain to cause a bit of a mess for the morning commute. Now, the midday hours are the most uncertain at this point. Now, it looks like a wintry mix will continue north of M46, so north of Greenville. The rest of the area should warm up enough to start seeing rain. Some thunderstorms are likely, but they won't be severe because it's going to be chilly. Most of the area will still be in the upper 30s to mid 40s through about mid-afternoon. Now, once we get past 4 p.m., that's where the most interesting weather could potentially take place. So the warm front's going to lift north, and depending on how much we can clear out the cloud cover and the rain prior to that, we could see the atmosphere re-energize enough to create some severe storms, and that would be most likely south of I-96. So the new Storm Prediction Center outlook came out about an hour ago and really has not changed. We have a level 3 risk south of I-96, an enhanced area of severe weather. It's a level 2 to the north. Storm Prediction Center has highlighted the same thing I just said in that it's what we call a conditional threat. So it's not a guarantee, but it is a possibility. So here's what Futurecast looks like through about midday. So we could see some showers begin to approach later this evening. I think the better chance will be after midnight tonight. And you can see those shades of initially blue, then eventually pink along and north of 96 with that steady rain to the south. So just about everyone will likely be seeing precipitation come tomorrow morning. That continues through about mid-morning. And then from there, we're going to have to see how the midday period unfolds. You see the possibility for some scattered showers and storms, but there's also a chance we could get some breaks in that as well. Winter weather advisory was just issued about 20 minutes ago. This is for Oceana, Newaygo, Montcalm, and Mecosta County, and that's where they're most certain that we'll get freezing rain. Again, it could occasionally dip as far south as Grand Rapids. Here's one such model with the Futurecast possibility showing about 1/10 to maybe 2/10. Most likely north and east of Grand Rapids, but again, that'll be enough to cause some impacts. And we could even see it try to approach as far south as Hastings, but that's the winter part of the system. So it's going to be feeling like winter in a few spots come tomorrow morning. The important thing is that just because we see the stuff in the morning doesn't mean that we won't see severe weather later in the day. It's really dependent on what happens around midday in the afternoon.
Yeah, something to keep an eye on. I would like to say that pink is a very pretty color, but it is not good news, especially if you're Mr. Phil Penarski. But Blake, I wanted to kind of focus on that warm-up that we are going to see in the afternoon time frame. I mean, that's a crazy kind of shift from where we're getting potential snow to a quick shift, and it's going to kind of relatively stay that kind of warmer estimate temperature kind of change between those couple of hours?
Yeah, so we'll likely be in the upper 30s to lower 40s through early afternoon, and then into the evening we'll see that warm front lift, and it's dependent on how far north it lifts, but you see the winds begin to turn out of the south by about 3-4 o'clock, and that's likely when that front begins to move in, and this is the time frame we have to be most careful of. Temps could rise into the 60s, especially south of Grand Rapids. And then this is just one such model. They're still fairly inconsistent, but the potential is definitely there for a lot of storms to pop up quickly between about 4 p.m. at midnight. And any one of these storms would be capable of producing damaging winds and potentially even tornadoes. So this is what we're going to have to watch between about 4 p.m. and midnight before the weather clears out. So again, a level 3 risk is in place. If severe weather happens, it's most likely to occur south of 96, but the whole area will need to be weather aware from about 4 p.m. to midnight, especially tomorrow. And again, that will depend on how the day unfolds. We have both limiting factors and qualifying factors for this, and this is what we always look at when we're tracking the potential for severe weather. So if showers and storms can persist through late afternoon, that would limit how much the atmosphere can destabilize or energize. That will keep things tempered, and I think that would lower our severe weather chances. If the warm front struggles to make it too far north, hard to get severe weather when you're not in the warm sector, when you don't have warm, humid air in place. So if it remains south of I-94, that would limit our severe weather chances. And then again, if too many storms form directly south of Michigan, that could kind of pull some of the moisture away from us. So there are definitely factors that could keep this from becoming a significant event. However, the reason why we do still have a level 3 risk in place is because there are some qualifying factors. If we can get some clearing in the cloud cover, kind of like what we saw Sunday, and if breaks in the rain can develop through the afternoon, especially between about 2 and 5 or 6 p.m., that would definitely increase the energy available in the atmosphere. If the warm front can surge all the way up here to Grand Rapids to 96 or even a bit further north, then all of us would be in the warm sector, and that would certainly increase our chances. And the dynamics, especially the winds above the surface, are very, very strong, so it will not take much of either of those first two items to really ramp up our severe weather chances. So that's why we're paying such close attention to this. If anything, damaging winds and tornadoes would be the main concern, along with, of course, heavy rain. It's, again, a conditional threat, so it's not a guarantee, but it's enough of a possibility for us to be concerned about it, and the main time frame would be 4 p.m. to midnight. So the bottom line, it may sound like a bit of a cop-out, but it really is going to be a wait-and-see approach. It's not a guarantee, but the situation's likely going to evolve pretty quickly through the afternoon, depending on what we experience. That's why it's important to stay up to date on the forecast and remain weather aware through the afternoon and evening tomorrow.
Absolutely, and I think of that last graphic, you had it in yellow. It's not a guarantee. These are just kind of the circumstances surrounding everything. We're just trying to keep everybody in the know of what to potentially expect. And then, you kind of see there heavy rain, damaging winds, potential for tornadoes. Hail being low is obviously a good sign there as well. I want to, again, touch on the tomorrow morning, or maybe even in the after, sort of around the commute times, I guess, whenever we're seeing that shift from snow or freezing rain to rain, and then also the potential for severe weather coming on the back half of the day. I mean, are commutes going to be impacted? Do you foresee any potential, at least a little bit of a warning for people to maybe get out a little bit earlier if they're headed out to work in the morning, or maybe even stay put, I guess, at work afterwards if weather is going to kind of persist a little bit?
Good question. So we'll start with the morning commute. I would say that the most likely area of impacts to that morning commute is going to be north and east of Grand Rapids. This is 7 p.m. Everyone should plan on at least a little extra time, if nothing else, because of the rain. Usually tends to slow things down a bit, create some more issues. But that freezing rain is most likely north and east of Grand Rapids, and that's where we'll be talking potentially icy roads and actual travel impacts in terms of winter weather. So that is for the morning commute. Now, the evening commute is, again, still up in the air a little bit. But the possibility is there that you see about 6 o'clock. The potential is there. This is just one model of seeing a few storms around that time frame. So that's why it's important to remain weather aware through the afternoon. Keep an eye out if we have any watches issued. At this point, the winter weather will be gone, but we'll have to be watching the storm potential. Again, use your best judgment. Keep an eye on things, see how the situation unfolds, and be willing to kind of change your plans if need be.